Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche post-game podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one rated sportsbook app out there. I'm your host, Rudo, joined as always by AJ Hafley and Blaze Hunter to talk to you guys about a regulation win by a narrow margin, but a regulation win for the Avs over Vegas, 3-2. Thank you, first of all, for the couple of super chats I see from Spence and Vaguely Sober. Bo does indeed know. We will talk about Byram quite a bit tonight, I'm sure. Let's start with the top of the game, though. We get into this one. Nathan MacKinnon back on the goal train a little bit. Obviously, there was, those 12 days off in there that if we kind of ignore those, MacKinnon had been struggling to put pucks in the net, still producing just fine, but he finally gets one to fall for him. There's a different universe where he has a hat trick in this game, but he got one of them to go in at least.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat there, right? Like, it looked like he was going to score, and then something just happened. I don't know. Did somebody get a stick on him? Or?
Yeah, it was Pietrangelo got a stick on him.
Yeah. But he got the first goal. I love it.
Gets the first goal, hits a post in the game,
yep.
Missed a wide open net, had a wide open net 10 seconds into the game too, where it just kind of pinballed away from him. So MacKinnon took one whole game to shake the rust off, basically, is what I'm saying here. Now involved heavily for the Avalanche again. The top line got the job done, certainly tonight. Not necessarily from MacKinnon, though, but from Brandon Saad, who only played half the game on the top line, which was weird, and we can get into that, but providing an assist to MacKinnon, to Mikko, really, on the first goal, and then scoring the second goal, the answer goal, to put the Avs back up 2-1 late in the second period. I think that was maybe one of the most encouraging parts of this game. Both of Vegas's goals, I think the Avs responded to very, very well.
Yeah. The first goal they obviously responded to exactly the way that you would prefer for them to, is they just, 2 shifts later and it's 2-1. I think that they responded to the third period goal eventually. But
I thought they responded pretty well immediately, and then they had that massive shift where Byram got caught out in the ice. But
yeah, I think it was okay. It was okay. It took a couple of shifts, but they pushed back hard eventually. And considering, that's Vegas has been the best third period team in the NHL this year. A bunch of their wins this year have come from them just blowing out third periods, either pulling away or coming back hard on teams and beating them late. So this was very much like in Vegas's wheelhouse. They were very comfortable with this. Colorado third period lead. The Vegas stepped on them early in that third period and did what they had to do. And it's they escape with a win, but you you're happy with the result, but you don't necessarily love how they got there.
Yeah, late in that game, too, the Avs got stuck out there, right? Byram was out there for what seemed like an eternity, and there was some blown assignments in front of the net where it looked like the Avs might just give up just a gritty goal from Vegas, just pressuring the crap out of, the defense out there.
Yeah, there was not a ton of confidence, I don't think, in that third period at any time for the Avalanche until the clocks all hit 0. But they got there at the end of the day. I want to wind it back a little bit, as this image was specifically requested by AJ Hafley as we move into the talk about the Avalanche's power play. Simple answer to the Avalanche power play. It's right on the glass for the Avs to talk about. You can see it there. Don'tbebroke.com. Maybe they can help with the Avs power play tonight. AJ.
I like that it's like it wraps all the way around the boards. Like it just keeps repeating. Like they put the PetSmart and the points bet, they just like slap it up there on a banner. And for some reason, the don'tbebroke.com, they were just like, let's wrap it all the way around.
They paid for the ad space, I guess. Nonetheless,
was that part of the negotiation? We want it to be repeated.
Yeah.
Put it on the boards and put
50 times. Really make people think about it.
We need to. If we don't see it 50 times on the boards, we're not sending you that check.
Okay, so the special teams, though, obviously didn't get it done tonight. I'm mostly willing to throw it out and not worry about it because, let's face it, the Avs' first unit is missing 2 key pieces, and the second unit is kind of whoever's left that wasn't in the AHL a week ago, right?
I'm not. I would be a lot more willing to do that if they had gotten it set up and they were, they just didn't finish anything, and then you're just kind of like, that's life, right? And I mean that's life on the special teams are just you live and die in streaks anyway. It's like basketball is a game of runs. Special teams is kind of the same thing. You don't score a special team. You don't score a power play goal every night. You score 3, and then you go 5 games without one. Like that's special teams is hot or not, but they were useless on the power play. They were the couple of times 3 power plays. 6 minutes with a man advantage, and they got set up. I counted 3 times, and none of them resulted in any shots on net. I'm not even sure that they were shots intended for the net. It was like pucks in the skates. They were right into traffic, throwing a puck at a guy whose back is to the net, and it's like, what are you accomplishing with this? What are you getting done by doing this? It didn't look like there was any plan. It was awful. Like their power play was awful. I don't know if they were trying to work on a new wrinkle. The zone entry was atrocious. Nothing worked. I mean, it was really, really bad. And normally I'm the one who just shrugs off special teams, and I'm like, look, they're super inconsistent. What are you gonna do about it? It's whatever. It was just bad. And then their PK. The PK didn't do anything wrong except lose the faceoff because that's a free setup.
Yeah.
You lose the faceoff, they get set up, and they're fine. Graves didn't do anything wrong. It's a great shot by Pacioretty. I think Cody Glass was the guy screening Grubauer.
Yep.
It was a great shot anyway. Grubauer's probably not getting that even if he sees it. You just kind of, for me, the goal against, I was like, whatever. But I thought the PK in the third period was big. That was big for them to kill that thing off and get going.
You just gonna let your dog bark and not pay the doggo tax?
Kid's coming home from hockey right now, so
okay,
yeah,
all right.
He's excited.
Maybe later we'll get the doggo tax.
On the power play though, you're missing a key piece, right? Like on that umbrella at the top point there, missing Maker there.
I think that Landeskog is more important than Makar is because he's a huge part of what they do on the zone entry.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the time, MacKinnon defers to Landeskog's side and they play the little 2-man game on the entry on the wall. And without Landeskog there, they just didn't look comfortable. And like, obviously Makar is important, but I think Landeskog, his role in getting things going is a little more important. And then once they're set up, Makar is easily more important. Once they're actually set up and going. They just didn't get around. They just didn't do that.
Yeah, you gotta have that threat.
It's only been 2 games, and it's like 2 games after a long layoff, but I think these 2 games have really they really show you the value of what Landeskog brings across the board. How much he helps the top line and how much he helps the power play just kind of do some of the little things that it does. Even though it's not like it's exceptional when he's there. So it's interesting to see, especially coming off of like last week when people were bored and were like, maybe Gabe Landeskog isn't worth it.
I mean, he's gritty, right? Like he goes down there and he grinds and gets those pucks and creates that time and space for that top line, and you can see it's missing out there.
Well, and Burakovsky brings such a different element because he needs to shoot and he defers so much to the other two guys. Why wouldn't you? They're who they are. They're 30-goal guys.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you naturally be like, oh, I'm going to set these guys up? But Burakovsky's bricked his own golden scoring opportunities. It's going back before the layoff. He's really that guy. We talk about MacKinnon. He only has 3 goals on the year, but Burakovsky's been pretty snake pit lately.
All right. Sure, definitely a struggle for Burakovsky tonight, but I want to keep the hype train going instead. Let's get to our DraftKings king of the game here. Nazem Kadri, of course, has to be the man with the last-minute game-winning goal, making a habit of it to score some late winners for the Avs. Not quite less than 0.1 seconds left on this one, but still comes in huge. And AJ, I think this continues to be a theme that we pointed out in the preseason. The Avs secondary stars. The Avs are missing a bunch of guys right now. Who steps up? Brandon Saad, a 2-point night. Nazem Kadri, the game-winning goal. When you get that production out of those guys, that's how having a Landeskog out, missing a Cale Makar, it doesn't feel quite as bad with those guys doing their thing.
Yeah, well, and the other guy that you don't mention there, Jonas Donskoi, with 2 more assists.
Yep.
Makes 2 really good plays on 2 of the goals that they score. And, you know, for a guy that we talked about, please, Seattle, take this guy in the expansion draft. Like, right now, you know, through the first however many games we are, 12 games or some, 13 games, Jonas Donskoi has been really, really important for Colorado.
Donskoi has absolutely played his way into that last protection spot, while someone like JT Compher has sort of played his way out of it, right?
Yeah, and again, like JT Compher, nothing happening with him on the ice, but the Donskoi contributions, that stuff is huge. You need a guy like that to make plays. I mean, he's not a guy that's driving play. He's not a guy that's doing a lot of fancy things for you. He's just making really good little plays that are turning into important plays. All
right. Blaze, give me the hockey coach's opinion here, because AJ and I have come to the conclusion that faceoffs only matter when they matter. Nazem Kadri wins his own faceoff, leading to the goal that wins the game for him. How critical is that? How are you looking at that and trying to find a balance between how important a faceoff is?
I mean, that one's critical, right? Like, obviously, there's certain areas of the ice that you want to win that puck, get possession of that puck, and make sure that you're controlling the game. Especially there, that was huge. With the time left, I mean, it goes the other way. They win it, they get it out. I mean, the Avs are stuck chasing down a puck, and then you're going to overtime.
For sure.
In that game, there are no bad results for Vegas at that point.
Yep.
Because they're guaranteed to walk out of there with 3 out of 4 points in the first 2. And these are 2 teams that we think are going to battle for the division title throughout the year. These 8 head-to-head games are so important.
Yeah.
And the Avs getting down 2 games to start this series off would have been, I mean, even if the Avs had won in overtime, right, and it was 1-0-1, you're still losing points there. And for them to have gotten the regulation win, like we talk about, like situationally, faceoffs are incredibly important in a situation like that. Even the immediate faceoff after it's center ice, you know, with 39 seconds to go, that's also an important faceoff.
Yeah.
You can bury it if you win the
next
and faceoff. And
the other thing too is the Avs haven't been, historically good in OT.
Historically bad, perhaps, in OT at times.
It's really just under Jared Bednar.
Yeah.
When you talk about this, for some reason, I've been watching old Avalanche games from when they were bad, and I watched they had a shootout win over the Kings in like 2012, and it was their 10th straight shootout win, which was one behind an NHL record. And I was like, what the hell? What What do you mean they win games in overtime? This is so foreign to me. And for them to have won that many of them in a row, it was crazy.
Sounds like they win shootouts, not overtimes.
Well, remember when shootouts used to be a thing?
That
Like,
just might as well
when
not even
shootouts
play
happened?
overtime. Yeah.
Because 4-on-4 was a thing, and everybody figured out how to play 5 minutes of nothing 4-on-4.
All right. On shootout note, we do have to take our first period break with Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. You can get the amazing Avalanche Amber down at the DNVR bar, along with 8 other beers on tap, a bunch of other amazing stuff as well. They just started throwing their seltzers out there, which I haven't had the chance to have them yet, but AJ tells me they are amazing. So I'm sure who was it that drank like all of the apple ones? Did Harrison like snipe them all?
Yeah, so I tried. So there are 5 flavors. I got to try 4 of them because Harrison Wynn stuffed all the peach ones.
Peach, okay.
Yeah, he took all of them, and he kept being like, every time somebody would try one, he'd be like, "Have you tried the peach?" And it was like, "No, dude, nobody can. You drank all of them. We can't. We literally can't."
Yeah, so apparently try the peach one. This is the takeaway here.
Don't be around Harrison when you've got it. Otherwise, he's gonna be like the human claw machine. He just comes in and just grabs that thing and goes.
Also sponsored by Strava Craft Coffee, which you can get down at the bar as well. Cold brew if you want to try it there, and head to their website. Use code DNVR20 to get 20% off your purchase, and you can sign up for their subscription service to get 20% off every single time you buy. All right, second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We have a super chat from David here. Thank you. Might as well just get into this conversation now then. That pass from Byram off the draw for the game winner. Nice pass. Byram is officially right now credited with the assist there. Kind of it pinballed around, and Vegas never really had possession, right? So that should stand.
It'll stick, yeah.
So that's his second point of the season. A lot of conversations around Byram tonight, ranging from incredibly solid defense to lack of offensive production to, oh my God, how many shots on goal for both teams can happen when one man is on the ice? Like,
yeah, he was Colorado's highest event player. It should be also noted that he played by far the most at 5v5 tonight of the Avs, playing 24-37.
That's what happens when you lose a defenseman 1 minute into the hockey game. But
yeah. Well, so Gilbert had some shit. He finished with 159.
Yeah. He took some shifts after, but then after his fight.
Good time for Cale Makar to come back. Because this is basically 2 games in a row that they've played with 5D.
Pretty much.
Which, I mean, if you feel that way about him, like maybe if Gilbert got hurt, then I understand. But if you feel that way about Gilbert, just stop playing him.
He was bleeding like a sieve after that fight.
Yeah, well, when you get punched in the face as many times as you do, like maybe don't pick a fight with the dude that's going to force feed you his fists.
Not where I thought this conversation was going, but I am curious. Blaze, what was your take on that fight? Are you cool with a fight like that, or is that, to me, that's the fight that means nothing? Like, why even bother?
Yeah, it was like early on in the game. It was just weird. It was just like wanted to show the coach that he was ready to go.
That's exactly what I thought it was. Look at the 2 players that got into this fight. All right, it's a 0-0 game. You're less than 2 minutes in. Obviously, the Avs came to play as they got a scoring chance 10 seconds in. Dennis Gilbert, his 24th NHL game. Keegan Colasar, his 12th NHL game. These are 2 dudes that are like, fight me because I need to make an impression to stay in the NHL. Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe he thinks that he can get a roster spot on the Avs, being the tough guy, since the Avs don't have a tough guy this year. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Bednar's not going to play that guy again unless he absolutely has to. So,
no.
AJ, I assume you're in the same boat for the most part.
Yeah, I've made my stances on fighting very clear over the years that if you're standing up for a teammate, I'm all for that. If you're throwing down the gloves to try and send a message to the coach that you're ready to play or something, what?
Okay, let's bring in the man from the locker room, I guess the remote locker room, the Zoom locker room.
Yeah, the Zoom room.
The Zoom room. Evan Rowell, back from the interviews. Looks like he's psyching himself up there.
Something in my eye.
Evan, I have no idea what the vibe is going to be in the locker room after that game. Hit us with it.
Bednar said we'll take it and get the hell out of here because he thought Vegas was better than they were the other night. It's just, the Avs kind of battled and Gruby was there to help him out. So, especially with that lineup, it seems like half their games this year, they're running down to 5 defensemen. This is getting ridiculous at this point. So 5D, they're just going to take the 2 points and get out of there. Everyone was really happy that it didn't go to overtime, just to avoid that 3-point game.
Yep. Sounds about right. We were just talking about that and the importance of it. And when every game's a divisional game, overtime never feels great. But
look, I'll take overtime against the LA Kings every single game. And then whatever happens after that happens, but
I don't need more hockey. I don't need more hockey against the LA Kings.
Buddy, strap in. We only got, 6 more of those things to go?
Be prepared. 3-2 is the final score here in a hockey game where I don't know how to feel about the Avs bottom 6 because it feels like they produce chances at a fairly high rate. But in my head, I'm thinking I should call these guys the magicians because it's an illusion of chance. Like they look dangerous, but that puck's never going in the net. So,
the fourth line has they've just done what they need to do essentially. Like you look at that fourth line, it's ugly, but they're not unless they're out there against Mark Stone, which they were a couple times tonight. They were completely fine, and yeah, they're just getting by at this point. They definitely the third line I thought was the weak point on the team tonight, which unfortunately has been most of the year. So yeah,
the Avs. Again, I know we've stated this already, but I would like to reiterate the Avs just won a hockey game, missing significant portions of their lineup, right? Missing Makar, missing EJ, missing Landeskog, missing Gerard, missing Jost. And Adam Werner is the backup goalie right now because Hunter Miska's on the COVID list now. They continue to struggle with injuries or COVID list or whatever you want to call it. They found a way to win despite it. So it doesn't matter if it was ugly. It doesn't matter if it was pretty. A win is a win. And the bigger conversation here, I think, for me, is this is 2 games in a row where the Avs have at worst hung with Vegas and at best looked like the better team without a bunch of these pieces. So
yeah, I think Vegas pulled away from the Avs a little bit
at the end. Yeah,
and just in the third period, I thought that it was really even through 2, and then I think that after that, I thought Vegas was just better in the third period. The Avs just made it count. But I'm given the status, they're missing half of their what they would feel like is their ideal defense.
Yep.
Half of them are not there, and they're going up against Vegas is really only missing Brayden McNabb at this point, and I guess Robin Lehner. But when you have Fleury in net playing the way that he is, they're not missing him. Through 2 games, this is the ideal result, and I think this is a miniature disaster for Vegas.
You can already see where Vegas is going to struggle, and it's just down the middle. Like they don't have a center that can match up against, MacKinnon and Kadri when he's going. They just don't, and that's why they haven't been able to pull away in either of these 2 games because they don't have that guy. They have Stone, who's incredible, and Pacioretty, who's great, but they have good wingers, but they just don't have that center that can.
Like William Karlsson's perfectly suited for the 2C role, right? But they've got Chandler Stevenson between Stone and Pacioretty, And I've watched most of Vegas's non-Avalanche games this year, and Chandler Stevenson's looked like a stud. And then the Avs come rolling into town with Nathan MacKinnon and Nazem Kadri, and you're like, have I noticed Chandler Stevenson in 2 games?
Again, and you've watched that their weaker pieces completely disappear. One of my favorites, Alex Tuck. He had 10 points in 11 games coming into this series, and he has been a complete ghost against the Avalanche.
The scoring chance on the PK and then the shot on goal in the third period, like halfway through the third or so, maybe a little later.
And that's it.
That's the only time you've really noticed Alex Tuck at all.
So credit to the Avalanche D as a unit. And this is something I saw people starting to talk about on Twitter today. And Blaze, maybe you can back up this conversation a little bit. But yes, we understand that the Avalanche D core is significantly better when healthy this year. But those players aren't there, and you're still seeing full buy-in from the entire team, the forward core as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw out there was team defense, right? There was some times there where there was some pucks coming up the center of the ice that shouldn't have been. I thought Graves got better throughout the game. At the start of it, he looked horrid. He was making some horrible decisions, and just the puck just wasn't there for him. So that's all I can really say. I mean, I know there was people saying that he looked great tonight, but I mean, from what I saw out there, it was nasty. Got better in the third. I mean, I think he was plus tonight, right? He was like +2. He was out there for the goals, but
yeah. And even I thought this might have been Taves' worst game in an Avs uniform, but they basically were like, he just had to play a ton of minutes and get by. But
everyone blocked 6 shots tonight.
Yeah. Well, he had the freaking SWAT in the first goal.
Yeah, the Matumbo.
Not in my house. But yeah, I mean, like, you look at the ice time, him and Grace played 25 minutes. I wouldn't say either of those guys played very well. They basically just survived this game, which is what they need to do. Certainly
everyone on the ice for the second goal the Avs gave up didn't leave a good taste in your mouth. Yes, shout out to our moderator, Ali Monroy. Appreciate the super chat, Sage. Very well done. But that second goal was it was gross. I understand there was no clue. None of them had any idea where the puck was. Grubauer was scrambling like a crazy person, kind of put himself out of position, fine. But you watched the Avs form a semicircle around their own crease and then just let the Vegas players skate directly through them and get the puck and score, basically.
I mean, like, how many stops does Grub have to have before the defense picks that puck up, right? Like,
yeah, well, that him diving across to make the initial save was insane.
Yeah. And then he had a second one.
We just aren't gonna
Comfort Taves looked like they just passed out. Like, they just both laid on the ice.
Well, none of them. The thing was, none of those guys knew where the puck was, and the only guys who did were both Vegas forwards. And eventually, one of them was able to poke it in, and it was like, cool.
I mean, at some point, like, the defense, you're told just to clear the front of the net out, right? Like, if you don't know where the puck is, just start clearing guys out. And that didn't. They were just standing around.
Yeah, at least tie up a stick or something. And
yeah,
and, like, you're not just supposed to lay on the ice.
Well, I mean, Taves at least tried to do something. You had Graves on one side standing there, Burakovsky in the back. Like, I don't know. He ends up staring at somebody's butt on Vegas' side because he just, like, AFK'd completely. I don't know what these Bednar mullet picks are about, but appreciate the nice donation there, JT. We started touching on this conversation here, but we can finish up the second period with Philip Grubauer. Once again, a .931 save percentage, gives up 2 goals on the night. I tweeted this out, but is there a conversation that Philip Grubauer is the Avs' best player right now? I mean, I know the default is MacKinnon's the MVP, but
absolutely,
it's Grubauer is putting up dumb numbers. Yeah.
You just look at his game. Look at his game log. Like, he's and it's a 900 save percentage every game. He's giving up a goal every game.
He came up huge tonight. There was some saves that were out of control. I thought the sheriff was in town.
Well, apparently he's the
last
bus
5
driver.
starts. He's given up 5 goals in 5 starts.
What did Kadri have to say about Gru?
He's the backbone of the team, and he's driving the bus.
There's multiple times that players have referred to him as that.
Well, AJ mentioned the 900 save percentage. If you like his last 2 years, that was the problem. Is like one game he'd look good, the next game it'd be like 850 save percentage or something like that. So, even if he, giving up a couple goals, he's staying consistent and playing well, and that's obviously huge because who the heck knows is behind him, Peyton Manning or who's that guy they called up? Yeah, they're running out of goalies at this point. I really think they're going to call JJ at this point. They need a goalie.
They should.
Why not? So with this conversation, and the 3 people from the Avs subreddit might actually get this, or I don't know how far it's spread yet, but Grubauer has to drive the bus, right? Because Nathan MacKinnon has to relieve himself on the floor of the bus. Because bus floors are nasty, and that's what Nathan MacKinnon does right before he kicks you in the bone piece, okay? You're welcome to the 4 people who get the reference that I'm making. To the rest of you, we do have to take our second period
I'm out
break.
on that one.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah, I have no clue what's going on right now.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 rated sportsbook app out there. You can head on over there. Use code DNVR when you sign up with a new account to get a bunch of amazing bonuses, top to bottom, all over the place. Our man Blaze over here, calling the Nathan MacKinnon first goal of the night, picked himself up a cool $100. So when you make a bet like that, I got to put you on the spot here, Blaze. We got the outdoor game coming up. Who you got? Who's your DraftKings pick of the week for the outdoor game?
Are we going to have everyone back, or what's going on there? The Avs healthy?
Assume
Jost and McCarr should all play in that game.
Yeah.
Landy?
You feel the Landy?
I feel the Landy.
All right.
Yeah, he's due. I mean, like MacKinnon, right? He had a horrible game last game, and guys like that are that good, they don't let it slide. Like, he was on a mission tonight. You could tell, like, watching him out there.
All right. So
Yeah. Landy's been locked up in his house with a kid for 10 days. He's ready to go.
all right, we're making it official then. Our DraftKings pick of the week. Put your money on the Man Rocket to score first goal, Blaze, or just a goal?
I'm going first goal.
First goal
Yeah.
in the outdoor game from Gabe the Babe himself.
Putting money on it.
There you go. Go make your DraftKings bet. You can head on over to the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Be sure to download it now. Again, be sure to use that DNVR code when you sign up for an account. Get a bunch of amazing bonuses, including that turn $1 into a $100 bet for just simply signing up and creating an account. As always, terms and conditions as well as restrictions apply. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only as well. Winning paid out in 4 $25 free bets. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the video. You can head on over, click that thumbs up, click that subscribe. It really does a lot for us over on the YouTube channel. We appreciate the many of you here live with us for a fun post game with the Avs W. How do we feel about the Avs depth right now? Because obviously they're deep in their bag of guys on the ice, right? That is clear, but they're getting by.
They're not even playing the 2 forwards that we were thinking would be the first 2 guys up, or at least close to it.
True.
Watching Jacob McDonald is like watching an insanely talented men's league defenseman. He is just straight YOLO, no structure, wild all over the place, and it's showing more and more with each game.
Evan, can you
Kinda-
poke your couch for me real quick?
It's real.
Real.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
At one point, I didn't know if he was playing D or playing forward.
Well, I think at one point there was a McDonald Magna 2-on-1, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what the? This is what we've already come to. It's game 13.
I was glad that he just shot that. It was like, don't just fire.
Don't be
away,
cute.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's all he does. He just shoots the puck. So I had no worries that he was going to pass that thing. But
Oh,
Yeah.
it does.
all right.
the depth is they're just surviving. Yeah.
All right. If Paul mentions Luke Glendening again, you can time him out.
Yeah.
You've been doing this for like 2 weeks, and the
Yeah.
Avs are like pushing as a top 5 face-off team in the league. They don't need a face-off guy.
It's
Is he even good? Like,
No,
I don't
he's
even know if
awful.
he's good
I
anymore.
don't think he
Yeah.
has a single point this year. I think he might have 1 point in like 13 games.
I remember him being Mike Babcock's like child when he was in Detroit, and I've heard nothing of that guy since then.
So, not great. Getting back to this game, though.
he has 3 points, by the way.
He's up. Last time I checked, he didn't have any. So
Yeah, they all came on the 13th against Nashville. Which,
okay, so there you go.
Wow.
Nashville might low key be bad.
Dude.
It's not low key at all.
High key bad.
They-
Yeah.
They might be in real trouble because it looks like UC Saros is way in over his head.
That's not good for them. That's not
Yeah,
good.
can we please hurry up and bring them back to the division? Come back.
So, on the defensive side, I mean, playtime's over, right? Makar's supposed to be back. Who knows when EJ will be back? Gerard won't be back until after the outdoor game, unfortunately. But with Makar back, you're probably not going to see Gilbert again. It's not going to be McDonald, right? McDonald is the one that's going to stay in the lineup. You have to think.
Gilbert's hurt now, so yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I imagine a broken nose is something you can fix with 3 days off if you wanted to play him. But
If it was a broken nose, he might have come back. I think it could be something.
you think
else.
it's worse than that?
Yeah.
It sure looked like a broken nose. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't. I know that people wanted him to like. That's his game. He wants to. Bednar said he thought he had a bad game last game and he wanted to step up, but I don't think you fight there. Like, especially with down defense that you already are. Like they just need the bodies, and they had to survive after that.
Well, AJ said maybe not in so many words, but if you take that fight, you better win it at least.
Like, you better dominate that guy.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I have my thoughts on Timmins. I know AJ disagrees. I think he's been. I'm not a huge fan right now. He's just.
I like that we had a conversation after the second intermission. You were like, Connor Timmins has been bad. And I was like, I don't see it. And I was like, I've been disappointed by Bo and Byram's offense. And then we both got what we wanted in the third period. Both guys, way better.
Yeah. Timmins just like. Bednar a couple weeks ago said, he has to realize he has more time than he thinks. And I still think he's going through that. There's just a lot of panic when he gets the puck and lack of composure. And then wildly, he'll just like hold the puck through 3 players. It's just out of nowhere. So it's there. I just don't think he's, been very good so far. And unfortunately, he's being tossed into heavy minutes. So, I'll cut him a little bit of slack there. And yeah, but.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot. It'll be interesting to see what happens like when Makar and Gerard are both back.
Yeah, that's.
And then you start to see like, okay, no longer does Ryan Graves or Connor Timmins just get this total free pass to have bad games. What's going to happen when they actually have to start being accountable for the play that they put on the ice? Because right now it's like, look, you just play them.
We have no
you
choice.
don't have any choice.
Who else are you gonna play?
Right. Like you're at that point you're calling up Dan Renouf is on the ice for you. Like You're playing Dan Renouf over Connor Timmins or Ryan Graves. Like, they better have lost you a game.
Yeah, that.
Like they better have pulled like the Nikita Zadorov against Anaheim -3 in 9 minutes trick
with a direct turnover right in front of their head.
Yeah, like one of those guys better have hardcore shit to bed. But like when it hasn't happened, right? Like right now they're just dropping him in the lineup, and I think it's kind of a blessing in disguise in that guys like this you have to let them work through some of these things. And if you're constantly rotating them in and out based on bad games or whatever, then you're just not. These guys are never going to find a rhythm. I had one decent night, and then I go into a second night, and does a guy ever find a real rhythm playing like that? It's really hard to, and especially a guy like Timmins, where we're still talking about a rookie NHL defenseman here. Like, I know that the way that the Avs treat rookies sometimes, we act like 7 games is an eternity of an opportunity, but it's really not. And especially defensemen, like we talk about defensemen, they take longer. There's a lot to adjust to. There's a lot happening. The speed of the game, especially for a guy whose foot speed is not going to be able to bail him out like Connor Timmins. Timmins needs to, there needs to be some playing time there. When Ryan Graves rolled into the Avs unexpectedly, he was like 4 years older than Timmins is today. He had hundreds of professional games under his belt at that point. And with Timmins, we're still talking about, like, this guy hasn't played 100 games in pro hockey.
The only way you learn how to make decisions against NHL speed is playing against NHL speed.
It's it. And we've seen with Timmins, like, we've seen him. He has excelled at every other level except this one. And so I think that there's plenty of reason to continue to give him a leash. But if Eric Johnson joins Gerard and Makar, like if EJ, if he gets back into that mix, you're going to have a really, really hard time living with the mistakes that these guys are making on a regular basis. But for right now, you just let him play through it. And you just hope that you end up, he ends up figuring it out and that you end up better in the long run for it. The problem is that Colorado's defense for the first time in modern history is just too talented. They don't have that problem at the forward position where Sheldon Dries is wasting everybody's time. But with Connor Timmins, like, you gotta just let it roll. Like, as great as Byram has been, as much as we've all loved to see what he's done already, and he's been a revelation. In some ways, I think what Byram is doing is more impressive than what we saw from Makar in the postseason. Because Byram got dropped in, and the plan was to shelter him. And then that plan immediately went away because of injuries. And that guy's he's essentially been their top guy since then. And they're 19 years old, and he's trying to anchor a defense that's just surviving right now with a bunch of guys.
Yeah, and when I say I haven't been super impressed with Timmins, I'm not saying he sucks or that he's going to suck long term.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just that this is just what I'm seeing right now. He's struggling with the pace, and it's not that I think this is going to last forever. I'm hoping that he figures it out. I'm just this is what I'm seeing, and like I said, he's playing. He was playing 10 minutes when the Avs were healthy. He was very limited minutes, and now
12 to 15. Yeah,
and now he's playing 20, 22 minutes because they literally have to. So every mistake, he's making a lot of mistakes out there, but that's just what has to happen. Like Bednar has multiple times said, he has to play through these mistakes because they have to know what they have in him, and they got to let him learn. So it is what it is. Hopefully a couple of these guys come back and limit some of this time, and so that you're not playing Graves 25 minutes a night.
He probably goes home at night and is just like, thanks, Kale. Thanks, Bo. Like that's what people expect now, right? Like they see that and they're like, why isn't everyone like this?
You're not automatically an NHL caliber defenseman. What?
It has been like that because people for the last 2 years have been like, Connor Timmins is on the way. Connor Timmins. Yeah. 10 games into the season, and people are like, Connor Timmins sucks. Why is he playing? And it's like, you guys have got the most distorted idea of what rookie defensemen look like in the NHL because of what has happened over the last couple of years, where wild shit has taken place. It's funny the way we remember Sam Girard's first season, because that defense was so bad. And he came in and was just completely fine. Like, he was not great. It wasn't amazing. There were things that he did that other guys on the defense could not do. And it was like he just brought an element, right? There was an
all he
element
had to be was not an actively burning dumpster.
Well,
and it was
right, and that's
great.
what I'm saying. Like, we had watched like the Nate Ginnins and Nick Holdens and Brad Stewarts and Boschemans and Zanins and Fedor Tutin and Eric Jelena and Cody Goluboff. Like, the list
Warsawski.
is so long. David Warsawski. Like, the list
That
is
was their
so
third
long
pair heading into the
Like,
playoffs that year.
of these bad dudes.
David
And then
Warsawski.
Girard showed up, and it was like, hey, this kid doesn't absolutely suck. and like, that team was just no good. Like, that defense was not good. Mark Barberio was a big part of that team, you know? Like, just so many of those guys. And then G was like a competent NHL player. And then Makar and Byram have obviously, Makar has been ultra special. And Byram, we're seeing it with the points, but even Byram, it's been like, he's playing 26 minutes a night as a 19-year-old on a cup contender and like holding his own. The guy's surviving. He's not drowning.
You drop the dude out on defense in his own zone, and you're not worried. You're not worried at all, and he's 19 years old.
And this was like, coming into this, you were like, well, how's he going to hold up defensively? We know he can score points. We know he's all these, you know, he has all these offensive attributes, and he's crazy doing all this other stuff, right? But it's like
It's kind of been the opposite. Yeah.
Like, it was funny because if you go and you watch his first couple of games and you watch our post-game pods, all of us are like, oh my God, the offense is awesome. He's just crazy with the puck. And the defense is a work in progress. But boy, that offense. And now we're now into the 11th game, and we're like, wow, that defense has really gotten rock solid. And where's the offense, though?
I mean, I think it was you that mentioned this, and this is true of both Kale and Byram, is how well they take to the coaching. This coaching staff asks them to do things, and you immediately see them start to work on it in games, let alone in practice. A lot of people in chat talking about this one. We can go around the horn on it, but let's start with our graphic designer here. Plays the Chrome Domes for Vegas. Thoughts?
It'll be great for Star Wars night. They're awful. I don't like them. I don't like Notre Dame's gold helmets. I can imagine what's going on in the locker room, and they're like, check these out, guys. And they're like,
no,
cool.
Are you a fan of their gold jerseys, the sparkly ones?
The stripper dust gold?
Yeah, those ones. Sounds like a no.
I mean, they're okay, but no.
Okay. Well,
what's worse? What's worse is it the blue helmets from the Avs or
the blue helmets are awful.
You notice they had the white helmets on tonight and they won?
Yeah, well, they had them on last game too.
Yeah, well, I'm ignoring that. It doesn't fit my narrative.
I like their gold, those helmets, more than whatever the hell that jersey was they wore the other night. I think that thing was hideous.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the sword on it?
Do we get
the alternate logo?
The Avs wear their Nordiques jersey on Saturday, don't they?
Yeah, for the outdoor game. Which, let's introduce the jerseys in the one game where the camera
no one
angles
can
are awful
see
and
anything.
no one will be able to see it. Yeah, but
I am curious how, like, what those camera angles end up looking like, because they don't have any stands to work out.
They can really
camera
put
bay
them up
could actually
there.
be awesome.
Yeah, maybe we can hope. Fingers crossed on that one for sure. And as usual, I end up on the wrong side of the design conversation because I think the gold helmets are sick. I love them. All about it. Like I said, I would have the golden chrome helmet and the like reflective silver visor. I'd be that guy, 100%.
You can probably get a gold one.
I told my wife this is probably something I would have been pumped to wear when I was like 9. But as an adult, you're probably like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Dude, I still dress myself like I'm 9, so it's fine.
Thank you.
I don't know. We're drifting into DNVR after dark territory here. So
It's like midnight, so yeah.
Wait. I know what AJ's answer is, but what do you think of those helmets?
Oh no, I love them. I
Yeah.
think they're great. I mean, I tweeted about them. I love
Yeah.
those
Oh
helmets.
yeah. Me and you, man.
For the record, I would like them a lot more if the uniform that they were wearing like even kind of matched.
Right. Yeah. That's bad.
That's kind of where they lost me with it. Was like this kit just looks awkward, but the helmets, love them. Also love the Vegas is not winning games in them. Keep wearing them, guys.
0-2 in them, right?
I also love the Notre Dame helmets. I think the whole Golden Domer thing is super cool. So.
The true chrome helmets are sick too, for
It
sure.
reminds me of like the SEALs. Like they used to paint the skates white.
Yeah, that was such a mistake.
Hell yeah.
The chrome. I had a chrome dome back when I was young, which again proves my point.
Yo, the chrome helmets that the Kings wore at Stadium Series last year were amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm telling you, they're
no
sick.
hate.
Nobody got into the arena to see him, so
Let's not bring up that memory. Let's move into final thoughts instead. To go back where I started the show, Avs won 3-2 in regulation. That's 2 points for the Avs, none for Vegas. You're 1-1 in the series, and the Avs are only going to get better as far as talent is concerned as this series goes on. So,
Still obviously early, and the games played are obviously also still like all over the place. But Colorado right now, 17 points, third place in the division, 4 points back of Vegas, 3 points back of St. Louis, games in hand on both. A point up on Arizona, 2 points up on Anaheim. Again, games in hand advantage. Hard to feel too bad about their position right now. I mean, they're 8-4-1 through 13. They've got a plus 14 goal differential. They're 4-3-1 away from Denver. This is fine so far. I am one thing, a minor gripe that I have about this outdoor game. Why the hell is it an Avs home game?
yeah, it's in Nevada.
It's in Nevada, and I was like, why wasn't LA the home team in Air Force last year? It's also not in Denver.
It's right on the border of California, so makes sense.
I had it on my calendar. I was like, I'm going to Avs practice on Thursday, and I thought about it. I was like, wait a second.
No,
Saturday's game is in Tahoe. I'm not going to Avs practice.
Yeah, nope. I wonder. I am curious. Like, do they stay in Vegas for an extra day or two and just chill, or do they go to Tahoe immediately and they're like, vacation?
Probably got to do.
Depends on if they're
Eating
Evander Kane
crap.
or not.
Ooh.
Don'tbebroke.com.
I wonder if that's his website.
Final thoughts. I hope the NHL players back on Saturday. I'm already over watching all these AHL dudes, like just straight AHL lifers. I'm hoping we get some talent back, make it more watchable.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully more watchable, though. That game was pretty good. I liked that hockey.
It was all over the place. It was an entertaining game, but yeah, not.
To be honest, like the two heavyweights of the West Division and two really, I've liked both games, and to see that they were competitive in both with the injuries that they had. Like, I'm sorry, but it has to make Vegas a little nervous, right? Like if the situations were reversed, wouldn't you be a little nervous from an Avs side that you walked out of this 1-1 if they didn't have like Pacioretty and Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore, and they still wandered out one with a 1-1 split in your own building? Like, wouldn't you be a little nervous from an Avs perspective, where you're like, boy, when they get those guys back, this is going to be a handful?
After these two games, maybe not so nervous anymore.
Yeah, well, from an Avs perspective, sitting where we are right now, you're like, okay, these guys are going to come back, and there's real potential for them to shell these guys.
All right. One last thing. Will the Avs win their first outdoor game on Saturday? Yes or no? No explanation, just yes or no. We have a no from AJ, a yes from Blaze, and it looks like a no from Evan.
Yeah, I'll go no. I can't say words, apparently. I'll just say no.
All right. I'll take yes. We're split 2-2. I'll bet we'll put down a seltzer bet because we will be at the bar for the outdoor game.
Seltzer, but we should do that Finnish whatever.
Oh,
the
Mueller.
Yeah.
We got to do Finnish shots if
all right.
That's that bet.
I'll bring the Swedish fish. It'll be fine. So be prepared. Outdoor game. It's going to be a blast one way or another. For those of you that want to come on down to the bar, come on down, enjoy the watch party of the Avs game, a 1 p.m.er. I believe the bar opens at noon for that game. So come hang out, have a good time, then join us for that post-game show as well. We have other shows coming up this week for you, 1 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We have like a whole slate of shows on days off again.
Yeah. So be sure to check those out as well. Appreciate everyone in the chat hanging out live. Be sure to check us out on YouTube if you're listening to the audio-only version of the podcast. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you guys again tomorrow.